I want to introduce you to the law offices of Vincent W. Davis at 888-888-6582. They're advocates for the rights of parents, grandparents, and guardians in juvenile dependency courts. Losing a child to a DCFS CPS social worker based on an anonymous call, complaint, or your ex-spouse is not only horrific, but it's commonplace. Everyone will agree that there's nothing more valuable than one's child. You cannot afford to fight this alone. Call the law offices of Vincent W. Davis at 888-888-6582. Connect with an attorney today. That's 888-888-6582. Get your kids back.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Fight CPS, the Civil Rights Struggle. I am joined with my guest tonight, Janessa. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for asking. So, like I said last show, I am going to open up the floor for all of my viewers to ask any questions that they're curious about, what it's like living with the TBI and healing from the brain injury, etc. So, if you have any questions about that, feel free to comment or shoot me an email. But without further ado, which I say all the time, so tonight we are going to talk about ambiguous loss, which is something that a lot of us parents deal with when we have to go through these awful cases. So, Janessa, what do you know about ambiguous loss?
Well, I didn't really know anything at all about it until, like a week ago when you mentioned it to me. I started watching the show when I was dealing with a CPS case, and that was last fall when I started watching Mr. Davis and your show, which I just have to say I am so glad that there is something like this happening currently, because ambiguous loss, okay, is ambiguous.
It's kind of huge. I mean, it's, when I discovered it, which was also not that long ago, things about my case and losing my kids to my toxic ex and CPS, like I just couldn't make sense of it all. And like we had spoken about before, it seemed like at one point, like when things were at its head, at least at the time, like it seemed like the fabric of my reality was coming together piece by piece, and I had to put it back together by myself while also dealing with this case. Like I couldn't contemplate, oh, this is America. Oh, the sky is blue. Oh, we live on Earth. Like nothing made sense to me anymore.
And that is exactly, I couldn't have said it any better myself. Okay. And I just came out of that place that you're talking about, and you're talking about picking up the pieces. And I felt like I was like looking down on them and deciding which ones I wanted to pick up. Okay. And honestly, not very many of them, which is okay, because we are all just on a personal journey throughout all of this, but the confusion that comes along with not knowing why you are grieving is something that I have never experienced before in my life. I literally cried for, the last 7 months. Okay. Because I was just so, I had all of these emotions and I couldn't put my finger on what exactly, was triggering all that. Like I said, I had just, came out of a case, with CPS, and I have my children still, and I am so grateful for that. Okay. So grateful for that. And it is, this is a difficult thing for any parent that has to go through the process. I mean, you just don't realize what it's all about, okay, until you are right in the middle of it. And then you're right in the middle of it, and it seems like it's too late at that point, because a lot of people are not educated about the system. And that is,
unfortunately, people don't have to know until it happens to them. So that leaves pretty much the rest of the population of us parents, who don't understand really how corrupt CPS really is. and they
So
automatically think that, oh, we must have done something bad, or we must be crazy, or, whatever, fill in the blank,
the statistics that I learned just recently, and it's difficult, coming on to live YouTube. Hi everyone, and letting everybody
I'm
know,
so happy you're here.
your basically your traumatic stories, okay, and the things that you have gone through on your personal path, okay. But it's this is a good thing, and I am so thankful that you guys, that you have the platform and that you had me on today, because this needs to be brought to everybody's attention. You have to get educated, like, unfortunately, and it seems like people don't know, right, until you are right in the middle of it. I was fortunate enough to have had, I don't want to say, well, he was a legal advisor, okay, that wasn't an attorney or tied to the case from any other. He was just, well, family of mine, okay, and he was actually, we had dealt with some intergenerational, actually, trauma regarding, CPS. So this is something that unfortunately I have been familiar with, but I did not know that you, let's see, you just have to pay attention to your rights all the time. I didn't know that you have parental rights, okay, and everybody has them, and everybody needs to research your parental rights and advocate for them, which is what I am trying to do right now. And just be aware, okay? Because you just never know.
CPS recently in I believe CP interview, or a meeting rather, that an advocate that I am close with was attending, had the CPS worker who was being questioned had openly stated, aggressively at that when a case happens, parents don't have rights and the Constitution does not apply. And Virginia,
okay, that is not okay. That is not okay, and that is what is so wrong with this whole, from the very beginning. Okay, these people are trained to intimidate you. The way that they come to, your schools, and they take your children out of their parties, in my case, okay? And they grill them and ask them leading questions, and the kids are scared, because who wouldn't be? Okay. And so I'm trying to
how we parents feel in those situations when we realize that we suddenly have a case and we just automatically want to cooperate and do whatever we need to do to make it go away. Imagine how our children feel when they are secretly questioned without any witnesses.
Well,
in most cases,
I don't have to imagine, because I have been there, a few times, unfortunately. I'm trying to gather my words here.
Oh, you're fine. We'll take a moment so you can gather your thoughts and I can respond to Virginia's comment. So to answer your question, Virginia, how am I doing? It is quite a process, learning how to live this, this rather new life that I, have been stuck with. So, but other than that, other than how slow it's been, for me to just process even the most basic things, I am doing pretty well, all things considered. I was not supposed to be as okay as I am. I should have been, A, I never should have survived, or B, I never should have been like out of a wheelchair, which I'm walking again. So that's good.
Amen.
So back to you, Janessa. So what were you saying?
Well, so I do have some notes here. You were talking about.
We were talking about ambiguous loss.
Right. Ambiguous loss. And when you mentioned that to me, my process started, and I started looking at things like, well, why do I have this complicated grief? Okay, that is
So
something that
there was a comment earlier on the screen about the definition of ambiguous loss. If we could show it, if we could show
okay.
it again. I will
I'm
read it out loud. So ambiguous loss occurs when you suffer a loss that you're unable to process. It's a loss that's felt when you're left confused about what has happened or why it's happened. It can leave you in this perpetual state of confusion without you knowing whether to accept the loss, what to do with it, or what position it leaves you in as a result of it.
okay.
So
So that is just terrible too. Okay, because let's remember why we are all here and we are talking about this in the first place. Because in my case, my child was taken without my permission into a place without me even around or any other adults or anything. Okay, and he was interviewed via a tape recorder with a stranger. Okay, so as a parent, as a mother, immediately you are frazzled. Okay, when you find out that you send your child to school to learn, okay, and to socialize, and and that is what the that day that my boy came home, it was just like another day, just any other day comes into my house and into our home, and I said, hey baby, how was your day? And he had this look on his face, which I won't ever forget, okay, because the events that occurred, days and weeks and months after that have completely devastated my family, okay? And we're going to be all right. I mean, I just want, I'm sure that I might have some people out there that I know, which would be cool. But we're going to be okay, because anybody that knows me knows that I have resilience, and that is a key word. Okay, you get involved with these people, for lack of a better term, and that's the only
tenacity. Come to think of it, tenacity is very good to have as well.
Oh
when
yes,
you're trying your case, at least.
And that is exactly, I mean, tenacious down to, and the things that you experience in the investigation portion of a case. I mean, and they could vary. Obviously, they're going to vary for people, but I just had some very, very interesting and eye-opening experiences this last tussle that I had with them, and it forever changed me, okay, to the core of the person that I am. Really.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Often that's what happens. It rips our entire world out from underneath us, out of nowhere. And when, when everything has settled, when the dust has settled, so to speak, nothing about our lives is ever the same. Our children are not the same. We are not the same.
That is the thing. I have never experienced anything like that, because for me, it was like after coming through, you're involved in a traumatic experience. So I've realized that I have just been suffering from some pretty severe post-traumatic stress disorder. And once I looked at all of those symptoms, and they were all just lining up, and the reason why, it's because I had some complex trauma that was happening, and complex trauma is complex because it means like you are going from one traumatic situation directly into another, and I have my children in tow with me, and I know we got to stay strong. We have to, because we are fighting the good fight for our babies, dude. And okay, sorry. We're trying to keep
something came to my mind, but I was unsure whether I should talk about it. So
okay. So now that you mentioned that, I'm sorry, Amanda, I don't want to cut you off, but that is another thing that I had no idea. Like, so all of those traumas, one on top of the other, stacked up like that. That's what makes it complex, right? And your brain stops working. Okay, it really does.
It
You
does.
and I have
You become
been
frozen.
able to talk about these things with each other over the telephone, and I'm so grateful for that. I really am. But that is why it was just imperative to me that I was able to get on your show, and because I want people to know that you might have problems for a minute. I mean, cognitively, oh, it is so frustrating for me to have spent the last 40 years of my life like think I knew, I was smart, and I've known that for the last year, but then the connections due to the trauma and the stress that you are under were not being made. Okay, synapses and firing off all over the places, and connections not being made, and it's so frustrating because you really kind of, I mean, you lose yourself in these things, and there's just no damn reason for it. For
There is no reason.
84%, I believe, is the number that's jumping out in my head, are these anonymous hearsay whatever, and the majority of them are from ex-husbands and
I
people
call them
with
toxic
a
exes.
vendetta. Like,
Mhm.
don't mess around with my family. If you got a problem, be a grown-up and come and talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Word.
Yes. I was just gonna say something, but I had a brain fart, so I'm sorry about that.
That's
But
okay. That's what happens. Okay, we will be right in the middle of something. Yes, there you go.
we need to crack down, like I said last show, we need to start cracking down on perjury in court, on false allegations, and these BS frivolous calls made to Child Protective Services. And I believe, if people are truly terrified of the consequences that will happen if they are caught lying, whether lying in a call or lying under oath, then they wouldn't lie. A lot less lies would happen, in my opinion.
So, and I am so glad that thank you for trying to keep me on track here, girl. I appreciate that. I'm so glad that you mentioned that because, like I said, I was familiar with the system, but I had no idea how internal it can get. And I mean, these people, they're everywhere. They are your therapists that you're talking to. They are your counselors at your children's public schools. They could be, I mean, really. And some people might think that, that sounds a little bit paranoid, but
It's
you're not
actually
paranoid if they really are out to get you. Okay.
Yes, there are incentives.
And there we go. I lost my train of thought too. And that is why this is so frustrating, because I have a story to tell. Okay. And I am literally piecing it all together. And I have, I know how to take notes. I know how to read. I'd like to consider myself a relatively educated young woman. Okay.
Mhm.
And I've worked pretty hard to get that education that I have. And I'm working extremely hard to keep it right now. So, with that being said, public schools, every parent that has a child in the public school system needs to familiarize themselves with the rules and the policies and the procedures of conduct, as far as like your visitation goes, when you have visitors coming in to your school and out. And I mean, it is all there, and it should be, you're able
mandatory. I think
Pardon
it
me?
should be mandatory that these people are tested.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay. Check it, girl. Like, you don't even, they walk in there with their snacks like it's like lunch break or something. Okay. And then they come and they take people's children out of class, away from their teachers that they know. Okay. the social worker at my son's school tried to tell me that she had no idea that they were even showing up. Okay. That's what the social worker said. And that is also what the administrator, the principal of the school said. Now,
Do you believe them?
no, not one bit. Okay. I don't. I have it. And if they are really truly if they're being honest about that, then there is a much more bigger problem at hand. I mean, can you see why, if there are people that are coming into our children's schools and they're taking our kids out of class and nobody knows, they're not signing in, there's no logbooks or anything, when there already are visitor procedures set up for things just like this. Who else is going to be able just to walk in there, And here's the thing, and this is hard for me to talk about, and obviously I am passionate about this. I feel like I had to get through that nightmare, hellacious experience that I just came through in order to use the voice and what the smarts that are left there to just get behind this movement, okay? Because this happens to people from all different walks of life, okay? And it affects things on an existential level. How's that? That's heavy.
It
right?
is. That is quite accurate. When I think about it, about the extent per se that this goes to, when it boils down to how CPS operates or DCFS, whatever it is in your state, just imagine how many rules and procedures they are able to wiggle around. And what makes us think that they wouldn't try to wiggle around even more rules and think, oh, well, we're the exception to the rule?
Okay, number one, there are no exceptions to rules. Rules are there. They're put in place to, make a society function correctly. Okay. So
every whim that they give us to follow, yet they don't have to follow the law or the Constitution, as they have openly stated, does not apply.
Oh, but check it out. It does. It does.
That's not the case. It is not.
Well, yeah, exactly. And
the Constitution applies or not.
Exactly.
It is the supreme law of the land.
The Constitution does apply, okay? And I don't care. Anybody who's listening out there, anybody that's listening out there, I don't care what kind of tactics these social workers or these investigators or whatever you want to call them use, okay? Don't ever let anybody tell you that you don't have rights, okay? Because you do have them. And if you can reach down far enough, okay, which is actually, it wasn't a very hard reach for me, because my children, and my family, I mean, our lives were on the table. Okay. I mean, like, literally, that's what it makes you feel like. And I know that sounds a little dramatic, and I am really looking forward to hopefully being able to come back onto the show and get into the beef, the meat and the bones of my story. I'm just not able to do that at this very moment.
When you're ready to open up about that.
They do. They come at you and they try to intimidate you and tell you that your rights don't apply. And they try to tell you that, you'll go to your first initial appearance without any representation. Okay. And the numbers are
one of the small battles that you have to win, that you have to fight in these cases. They often retaliate. And they get away with doing and saying whatever they want.
It's domestic terrorism, okay?
Or anyone.
It is straight up domestic terrorism. I mean, to the T, okay? It is. And
literally,
here's the thing.
It is the definition of domestic terrorism.
It is. And way to use your brain power, Amanda. Seriously, though, for real. It is the definition. and this is not okay, and it is so difficult for me to talk about it, and it's difficult for anybody that has ever experienced this to even to go through that. I feel like we have no choice but to take a stand against this. This is an injustice on literally on mankind. Okay, there is not one thing that I could think of that even comes close to sitting where the bond that you have with your babies. Okay,
And
even if it's not a strong bond, or you think that you get things in your head and you think that you might not be a great mom, but you're a single parent and you are doing the best that you can. And all you have to go by
sometimes, because we are all human.
Yes. Oh, and you know what?
Humans. We are allowed to make small mistakes. When it comes to major stuff, then having the answer for it, seems justifiable. But what's happening now is literally domestic terrorism, and the definition.
How about accountability? Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about accountability too. Because like I said, unfortunately, this is not the first time that I had them in my life. Okay. And previously, they come up on me and they tell me I've got to be accountable for mistakes that I have made, okay, in my past, and things that I have worked through and that have not only affected the course that my life was headed in, okay, which isn't a terrible place. I would like to just add that. But they want accountability from me. They want me to offer up all this information about me, personal information about me, about my history, what my mental health is like. And who are they? At some point, we have to hold them accountable too. And the only way to do that is to put your foot to the fire. And it is hot. Okay. It sucks. Mm-hmm. It is damn righteous hot. But I'm sticking my foot out there right now for you, Amanda, and for anybody that is watching and could even halfway relate to anything that we are talking about right now. Like, I want to take this time to throw this idea towards you, my friend, my new friend. I think we need to start some kind of a support group. Okay. And I don't know, it's going to take me a minute to research all of this. And it's going to take me a minute to recover too, because it's okay to say that you're not okay. It's okay to do that.
Okay.
That is another thing that it might be one of the toughest things that you could ever do for yourself and for your kids, dude, is just to say, hey, check it out. I'm not all right now. And take a breather. Okay. Take whatever kind of time you might need to regroup and get it together, because we got to fight. They are, they're out there all the time. And the retaliation is a real thing. And if you have never experienced anything at all like this, then you're blessed. You really, truly are. But you got to know that it's coming, okay? Because it happens to everybody.
Don't wait until it's too late.
Get informed.
Be as educated as you can when it comes.
I did want to ask you, we didn't have a chance to really talk about this before, but I wanted to just name a couple of places on the internet that I was able to find some extremely valuable information. And I think that
let's hear all about it.
Okay. Because I thought that I've seen some of your shows where some other guests did that. So I just wanted to make sure that was cool.
Of course.
So the parental, okay, hang on. Parental Rights Foundation. Okay. They have amazing resources. And depending on which state you live, you have to check out what your state laws are. Okay. Because federally, it is, I don't even think it is a thing federally. Right. So, and look into who the therapists are that are screening your kids, that are screening you. Okay. I come from doctors in my family, right? I know, crazy, but that's what they do. They're smart, okay? They're smart too. And the power that these people have, my friends and close, acquaintances of mine and people that I know have access to our children. I don't know if they really understand the damage that potentially could occur with the one wrong diagnosis or one judgment call that they make in the wrong way for whatever reason, okay? And a lot of those things could be hearsay, but when something isn't right. And if your instinct, that is another thing too that I just got to throw out there. If your instinct is telling you to pay attention, then listen to your gut for real, because you are in it. You are in it. It doesn't get any more thick in that shit than right there where you're at. And sometimes you don't know who to trust. You don't know who to talk to. So right here, that's the only person that you have, and you do it. It's terrifying, okay? But you do it for your kids, so their kids don't have to go through this shit, okay? Because look at what a mess that makes. Word.
Yeah. I'm just touched by your personality and your willingness to fight this fight, because it's not easy. Nothing about
Amanda, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. And like I said, I mean, I am looking forward to the day that hopefully I get to come back on the show and tell my story. Hopefully it won't be too much more longer either. But I want to reiterate that sometimes you don't know who to trust, and you have to dig deep down, and you got to find the courage to protect your kids, because ultimately that is your job. Okay. And you can carry around whatever kind of baggage that you're going to decide to carry around, or you could try to keep a positive attitude, and like brush it off like it's not going to bother you, and just you keep sliding, but ultimately these are your kids. Okay. And why else are we here? Why else are we here if we are not here just to do the best that we can every day? And some days, okay, the 4 agreements, okay, some days are not going to be your best. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is a code in my family. That's how I,
Remind our viewers, what
integrity. Integrity is huge, okay? And your character, the person that you are. And there's not a lot of people that ultimately that really do know you. I mean, that really know you. But you know you. And if you are anything like me, I could not sleep knowing that this injustice is happening on a state level, on a national level, and the local level alone was enough to just drive me straight over to the cuckoo's nest. Hey, but check it, we got back.
So for our viewers who are not familiar with the 4 agreements, could you give a brief explanation as to what that is?
I know that I should have. That's like a pop quiz right there. What are the 4 agreements? Like, where's my book? I've got it right here. Be impeccable with your word. Okay.
Yes, I know that's.
And try not. I am paraphrasing here. Try not to judge people. Okay. Because you never know what other people are dealing with. And now I'm emotional. But those things, okay, they're not any different than let's say somebody's commandments that they like to live by, or whatever code that you want to pick. Just integrity. Integrity is huge. And don't let these people come in to your home. Don't let them come in. Don't let them stomp in your front door. Okay. You got to stand up. You have to tell them that that's not okay, because there are policies and procedures that are set out for reasons just like this. Okay, it's an overreach of the government on fundamental levels, and the fact that it is happening right now in this day and age where we live, okay, in America, right? And I used to love my country, and I am still. I'm there. I want to have that patriotism that I once knew when I was younger, but let's just get with the program here. I mean, things are different now. And you have to look out for you. Look out for your neighbors. Don't call CPS because you see your neighbor's baby, playing in the backyard. Okay? Because I know that happens to people. Like, if you talk to people, if you're concerned about your neighbors, then go check in with them. Don't call the fuzz. Don't call the fuzz. Okay, because the only thing, it's thinking like that. Okay, and the continual, I don't know if that is a word, but I like it. The thinking that continues to go like that's why we are in this fucking mess anyway. I mean, it is. And when I say we, I mean us as Americans. Like, I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what church you go to. I mean, I don't care if you want to eat meat for dinner or not, or you just want to take your vitamins, or maybe you don't want to have your child medicated. Okay. Maybe it's not the public school's place to tell a parent when they should medicate their children. Maybe that's my decision. Okay.
You hit something right on the head there with that statement. You're right. It is not the school's place to be making these decisions. It is the parents.
And until you are in that place, okay, the only thing that you have to go off of is your previous experiences, okay, and the research that just take the time to look at the big picture here, because you do not ever want to find yourself there. Okay, so you kind of have to be. Unfortunately, this is how it was put to me, and this hit home, and I'm glad I remembered this because I wanted to relay it to you, Amanda, and your viewers. It's like we have evolved, okay, from being cavemen back when the dinosaurs roamed around. And I happen to know that is true because, yeah, dinosaurs really did roam this globe that we live on. Okay. And so cavemen, and we are protecting our children from the woolly mammoths. I guess the woolly mammoth was probably not that scary, but like the big, there were predatory things that we were instinctually keeping our kids safe from. And now we've evolved, right, as people, because that is what happens if you read science books, kids. And you evolve, but we have evolved to where we are still in that mode, but we're protecting them from your public social workers. Okay? Your public school, the place that you send your kids. You trust them. You put them on the fucking bus. You make a lunch for them. You get up and you make a lunch for them, and you make sure their teeth are brushed and that their fucking hair is combed, and you are doing the best that you can. Okay. And you put them on the bus and you pat them on the head and you said, have a good day, baby. We are trusting you with our babies, with our lives, with our families. Like, there's nothing that is more sacred. There's nothing. Try to think of something, Amanda, that is even close to the bond that you have with your child.
There is nothing. And I've said on past shows that this is quite literally, the absolute worst thing that you can put a human being through is to rip their children away, especially as a mom. Not just fathers and how close they are with their children, but it affects us so much more deeply.
Well, there is physiological. Well, we were close there. You said it. What's that word? Say it.
Physiological. You said it right.
Yeah. Okay, physiological. We are pre-programmed, okay, to have that for our kids, for our babies. I mean, and I will be I will be the first one to admit it. For the last, 18 years of my life, I've been a mom. I've been a lot of other things too. I've been an aunt. I have been a, geez, I've been a daughter. I've been a sister. I've been a student. I have been a voter. Okay. I'm a
So you've
constituent.
worn
And I just
all
want,
hats.
I just want to remind everybody of that too, because that is where you really can make a difference. You got to start
Yeah,
at the
everybody.
local
And
levels.
Vincent Davis also
And
says
don't
this:
be afraid to use your voice,
vote,
okay? Even if,
vote,
yeah,
vote.
vote, rock that vote. And who gives a shit, okay, what anybody else thinks about it? Because this is so much more. This is huge. This is, like I said, this is on like an existential level huge. And honestly, I did not ever feel like I was, ever really came to wherever I was setting the bar at being a good mother. But after, and this is what is so amazing too about what a terrible, like, you have to be able to take a bad experience, okay, and anything, and try to turn it into a good one. And now I know that I am the best mom that I can be to my kids, because I did go up against that machine, okay? And the Constitution does mean something. And
I like how
you
you
are well
use
within your
the word
rights,
the
okay?
machine.
And it is terrifying. It is the scariest thing that I've ever done in my life. But you know what? Ultimately, when I look back on it, um, it really wasn't that hard, okay? Because I didn't feel like I was left with much of a choice but just to stand up for myself and my family. And holy shit, man, I am so glad that I did, okay? Because I listened to your story, Amanda, and I listened to your guest's story, and it just breaks my heart like all over again. I literally feel the words that people are using, because I was just there, and I think about what could have happened. And I'd also like to just to retaliation is a real thing, so coming on here and
It absolutely
walking my walk and talking my talk, that's what accountability is, okay? And me taking accountability and knowing that I have got to help somehow. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to do that.
But
I
do you
want
know
to
who's
start
not taking accountability? These
all sorts of people, actually. Where
these
should I start?
domestic terrorists that are trying to hold us accountable for minor
Yeah.
things. If anything, that's not, if not frivolous things.
Okay, so
But they take no
and then
accountability and they answer to no one. And
this
that
is
has to end.
that is totally a whole other part of the mind fuck that occurs when these people try to insert themselves into your lives, okay? Because your kids are right there on the front lines with you, except your judge says that you can't talk about what's happening in your home with your children. So you're going through this super traumatic thing, like your feet are literally held on the fire, okay? And then you're sending your kid off to school like every day is just like a normal day, and there's nothing fucking normal about any of this, okay? And the places that your brain and your heart and your mind, your psyche go, not good, okay? Not great. So research your local laws, state codes, learn them. If they have anything to do, research the policies and the procedures at your public schools. Research the people that are investigating your family and your children, because it is the most, not might be the most important thing that you do, but it will be. And just hang on to the willows, because the storm is coming. And I don't want to be like all doomsday or whatever, but this will happen. I know that there are judges and that there are people from the system that watch your show, okay? I know that there are. And it's hard not to get your brain to think, oh, I wonder if any of my people that were involved directly in my case, are watching right now. And and I don't care how far up on the totem pole you are or you think that you might be, either like this could happen to you too. And I think that you really hit it right, the nail on the head when you said that people would not make those judgments against other people without facts. Okay. Isn't that what a whole legal procedure and process and the whole thing is set up for? I believe our founding fathers really kind of had an idea about what they were doing. So stick to the books. And
Yes. But we're talking about an entire population of workers that thinks the Constitution and the laws don't apply to them.
well, because immunity, right? Well,
Proceed, they have qualified immunity.
yeah, government
More on the end of the
issue
show.
immunity, but let me just
Procedural due process is violated constantly in these cases.
I know, and I'm just going to go back to that statement that I made earlier today. Like, if you feel like something in your gut is telling you that something is not right, then you need to listen, because
right.
I know for a fact, okay, I know for a fact that if you challenge some of these things, that genuine change will happen. Okay, I know that to be true because I did it, y'all, and
so tell us a little bit about that, if you can.
Well, okay. So, like you said, the social workers are granted with government immunity, right? Right. Thank you. And that basically, I mean, and I have in my notes, I don't have any, but I mean, I've got it somewhere. I mean, I could tell you what it states, but it's basically like, well, I'm going to, paraphrasing again, right? I'm going to make a false accusation against you anonymously. And if you're not, paying any attention at all, then you might not see it coming, or you might not be able to really see what happened. In my case, I knew the minute that I got on the telephone with the social worker, the very first conversation that I had with her, that it came from the school. So I'm trying to be proactive. Okay. And I also know that anything that I say can and will, absolutely will be used against you. So you don't want to talk to these fuckers.
But we have the constitutional right to invoke our Fifth Amendment not to self-incriminate.
Okay, but check it out. When you do that, immediately, when you do that, everybody starts looking at you like, well, what does she have to hide? Nothing. But that's, I mean, the Fifth Amendment is set up to keep the government from overstepping. Okay. And that ultimately is what's happening. Okay. And if we let them come in this time, then you guarantee they're going to be back. Okay. And if you're not prepared for it the second go around, and you're fortunate enough, like I was, to have a third role and be able to call him out and say, you know what, this is not okay. I want to know why the judge is going to issue, interim orders on me to cooperate with this agency when there is no proof at all about whatever kind of accusations were made against me. And so I mean, that's what happened. I had to kind of say, okay, I'm not playing, because 3 times the charm, they would have had him. Okay. They would have. God damn it. And no. I think I told you this on one of our first conversations. Okay. Those are my kids. And I'm going to say more than half the time they drive me crazy, but they are my children. Okay. The heartbeats that they have that are currently running through them are there because I made those hearts. So don't test me. Okay. Because hell hath no fury like a mother's scorn.
Yes.
Word.
Every time I think about that quote, I insert mother instead of woman. Yeah.
Real talk right there.
So something that I was thinking about, we do have to wrap up in the next 10 minutes because I tomorrow have my busiest day of the week and it's been really hard with my brain injury. So
You know, and I am so sorry, Amanda. I did not mean to like steal the show. I know we were trying to stay on the ambiguous loss thing.
We
Okay.
were talking about ambiguous loss, and one of the biggest coping skills that they say there is for ambiguous loss is exercising a creative outlet, like playing guitar.
Oh, yes.
writing
Yes.
poetry. So
Everybody needs an outlet.
if you'd like, I did start doing that. I have painted a little bit in the past, but like all of my pain that I was feeling inside just poured out onto the canvas.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that stuff, it needs a place to go. Okay, so in like in my case, I didn't even know that I could paint. And I don't know, I stumbled on those that acrylic pour painting, okay? And I may have had a knack for it, or I might have just spent a lot of sleepless nights, okay, just trying to get through my experience, you know, and I needed a place to put that stuff, you know, because that shit is poison. It is.
Yes.
And it'll break you, dude. And that's the game. Okay. That's the game.
Would you like to see some of what I was able to do? Because I was even
Yes, please.
Okay, so if you guys are ready for this, we can do a little show and tell about the artwork that I've done. And, you know, when I show this, I just want to say, you know, it might catch your breath at first, but just understand it was all of the pain that I was feeling in that moment. It was just pouring out of me.
Could you imagine if you had not had a place to put that? Like, where would it be? You know where it goes? It goes up here. Man, that's not a good spot.
This is the first painting I did. And
I wrote
his name. I wrote sociopath, hashtag bring them home. Save us, please. Why can't you see me? Under siege, malfeasance, you know, illegality, lies. Please don't hurt them. Parental alienation. So all of these. So it's a bleeding heart. And right here, it says, save our children. Just like I have tattooed on my leg. I've got a big thigh piece and I love it. So that is
Amanda. I just started painting a bleeding heart last night.
Aww.
Kindred.
We are, yes, I think you hit it on the head. So the next one I did, this was another off night for me. I was pain. So this is like, it's a hand coming from the sky, but you see the cloud right here. There's a hole in it because it was mixed medium. So like, you know, the fingers had metal on them. It was really cool looking. But her head is exploding in the back because of all the stuff that she has going on up there.
That's what you feel like, okay? It's amazing. That's amazing. You're very talented.
Thank you. And this is a picture that I drew on Mother's Day from a picture that had been taken that day. And these are my 3 kids. It's almost a perfect replica of the actual picture. And lastly, this is probably the most gruesome one. So brace yourselves.
Bring it.
This is just how I was feeling in that moment. And I put up here a quote from a song. It's been a long day without you, my friend, but I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. But then when I got to drawing, this is what came out.
Oh, I love that song. I know that song. That's good stuff. Okay, but that is, I mean, your depictions in your art, that is exactly how you feel. So do your research, folks. Get educated, get smart, and don't waste a minute.
No, you're spot on. Now, we are coming up to the end of our hour, and I would love to have you back on again, Janessa. But I thank you all for tuning in. And we will be live every Thursday at 8 p.m. sharp. So we went up an hour. Well, at least it's 8 p.m. my time, but it could be different depending on your state. So yes, that's pretty much it for the show today. And I think
I'm going to start working on that, the support group thing. I mean, I don't know when that is going to happen, but but that is probably on the path. So
You
God
have
bless every one of you. I'm not Tiny Tim, but like honestly, I am keeping my light on for anybody that is messing around with this nonsense right now.
It's
Be strong.
heartbreaking.
Be strong, because be brave and get the courage that you need. It's there. It is there.
Amen to that. Well, Janessa, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And everyone, I will see you guys next Thursday at 8 p.m. sharp Eastern time. That is 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I will be live next Thursday at 8. Is there anything else you would like to add, Janessa?
Just, read your books, kids, for real. This is not a drill. Not a drill.
It is not. It is not.
Call me.
I will. Well, thank you everyone for joining. You guys have a good night.